my name is Scatchard. I am a teacher at Cheney Secondary School in Edmonton. I'm also a resident in Cumnor and cycle commuter, keen e-bike enthusiast. I've bought one recently. I've realised what a game changer they are. And I'm also a parent. My kids don't go to Cheney School. They're primary at the moment. They'll probably go to Matthew Arnold. But I do have that sort of parent's perspective on things as well. So I'm going to talk to you about getting to and from school. Really three main points I want to make. So obviously children need to be able to get to school on time and safely. Parents need to know that that's going to happen. And parents need to go about their day and get to work and so on. And I think sometimes one that gets forgotten is teachers and support staff also need to get to school. You know, schools are quite labour-intensive places. Cheney employs around 200 people. So those people need to get there and home again as well. And I think it's a common observation. I've heard people say, you know, oh, is it half term? The roads seem to be very quiet. It does have quite a big impact on the levels of traffic in the rush hour, that school run. So my first key point is I would not let my kids cycle to Cheney. Okay, it's just too dangerous. They share the road with too many other traffic cars. The roads around Cheney, I'm not sure if you know where it is, top of South Park, so you've got Warnford Lane, Gypsy Lane, and although there are LTNs that have come in and have made things a bit better in some of the streets like Divinity Road, there's still way too much traffic. I would not do it, and I'm sure there are plenty of parents who feel the same. So what do if they live too far away for their kids to walk, they're not on a decent bus route, they drive their kids to school. And the result of this is there's more cars on the road, and it's more danger for the kids who do cycle. And this is borne out by our experience. You know, we recently surveyed children, did a little hands-up survey. It's just a snapshot. We found 12% of children were driving or being driven to school. Might not sound like a lot, but when you've got 1,650 kids, that's around what? It's a lot. It's approaching 200 kids, isn't it, that are being driven to school every day. And we're having children injured on an annual basis around the streets, just around the school, never mind further afield, by the crazy things we're seeing people, you know, parking double yellow lines right in the corners, opening doors without checking. It's just dangerous, you know. So if we want to get kids actively travelling to school, which is obviously good for their physical and mental health as well, we are in an obesity crisis, a mental health crisis for young people and all of that, as well as being good for the planet. Climate emergency has been mentioned by Paul already, and that is serious business. We've got to break this vicious cycle of, you know, cycling isn't really an option because it's too dangerous, so everyone drives, which makes the roads more dangerous, and nobody cycles. We've got to break that cycle. And as far as I can see, I may lack imagination, but you know, you see two ways of doing it. You either bar cars altogether, as in the LTNs, or you need to separate cyclists from the rest of the traffic. So these quick ways which are being proposed with bollarded cycle lanes, not just a white line, that's not good enough. Okay? Although most cars are respectful of cyclists, there are always going to be those few, so unfortunately just aren't. So that's the first point. Second is, the transport crisis is, I think, very much linked to the housing crisis in Oxford. We know that houses are, 11 times the average salary, and teachers are a very average salary. So talking from a staffing point of view, you know, a lot of our teachers drive from outside, they commute from outside, they can't afford to live in Oxford. I have a colleague, lovely chap, lives in Farringdon, commutes to Cheney, wants to do the right thing, but you know, the workplace parking levies, concerned about that from a cost point of view, petrol rises of course, and the LTN's making his journey more difficult. So he's now thinking about getting a job at a school close to where he lives. And the end result of this is it will be harder and harder to recruit teachers, good teachers to schools. I'm sure it's not only the teaching profession, the same will go for people like nurses, also on very low salaries. We're just not going to get those people, and recruitment will be an increasing issue, I think, if we don't solve this. Now, as a temporary solution, I do think e-bikes are amazing, and if we had more of a sort of joined-up approach, if we had free parking at park and rides for key workers, secure sort of locking storage for e-bikes, which should be discounted for them. The cycle scheme is good, but it could go further. And if the roads were safe enough, if there's an integrated network of cycle paths that they would feel safe on, then they could, they really do flatten hills and enable you to carry heavy loads of books around the place quite easily. So that could be a really good temporary solution, but only a sticking plaster. My third key point, methods to reduce car traffic voluntarily, I'm afraid, just won't work. And the simple fact is that if you make, through education or whatever persuasion, you get the level of traffic down, the result is the roads then become more attractive, actually, because there's less traffic, so then people will drive more again, and you end up back where you started. So the only way to solve this is really to ban cars, as far as I can see, and it is justified. We're in a climate emergency, we've got a health emergency caused by sedentary lifestyles, pollution, people are dying of air pollution, it's not much talked about, but it's happening. But we've got to provide alternatives. The trouble with the LTNs, the reason why they cause so much fuss, is if you just bring in one measure without bus prioritisation and alternative ways of getting around as well, then people are going to get frustrated about it. So, to sum up, in my position, faced with your question, trying to find solutions that work for everyone, effectively not. My advice would be keep the LTNs, but as I say, provide alternatives as well. You've got to improve the buses, discount the buses, they're too expensive. Children should be prioritised, as you said, they're vulnerable. Driving cars excludes them. They can't drive themselves, and they're not safe on the roads if they're surrounded by cars. Pupil premium children should be given bicycles. There should be compulsory cycle proficiency training, which there isn't. We're trying to bring it in Cheney, but at the moment it doesn't exist, because they're not forced to do it. We should be doing it. Schools should be supported with school streets and standard enforcement cameras and barriers. And because of safety concerns, the current school run, it's only going to stop if other car use is also stopped, or traffic is separated from cyclists. As far as I can see, those are the only two ways of doing it. Now, of course, you should allow exceptions. Disabled people, key workers, and we've got the technology, as well as an integrated sort of transport solution, we should have a digital solution that goes with it. License plate recognition software exists. So, for example, if you've got an appointment at the Nuffield Orthopaedic Centre and you've got to drive there, you could be given like a pass. Okay? You'd be given a one-day pass as part of your appointment that allows you to get to your appointment. So, of course, you need to be inclusive to people who can't get around by active means, etc. Thank you.